Welcome to a world unveiled, a haven where dreams, an endless reality, and the gentle whispers of the night embrace you in a peaceful slumber. As you settle in, let the worries of the day melt away. Close your eyes and take a deep, relaxing breath. Feel the comfort of your surroundings, the softness beneath you, and let a sense of calm wash over you. In this serene journey, we will explore worlds unseen and tales untold, each a lullaby woven from the threads of imagination. Here, in our world, time slows, and the gentle rhythm of the night cradles you towards restful sleep. As you listen, let your mind drift on the currents of my voice. Picture a world where the stars twinkle in harmony, and the moon smiles down upon a land of tranquility. A place where every gentle breeze carries with it the promise of peace, and every wave whispers a lullaby just for you. Now, as the music softly plays, and my words float like feathers in the wind, allow yourself to drift into a world unveiled, a land of dreams, where you are safe, loved. Tonight's story begins in a world far away, a realm where magic is as real as the air we breathe, and every star in the sky tells a story of its own. A broken resolution. Chapter 1. A New Year's Promise. The city was draped in the festive luminescence of New Year's Eve, its streets echoing with laughter and music. Among the merry crowd was Emma, a young woman with a hopeful glint in her eyes, standing on the threshold of a new beginning. As the clock inched closer to midnight, Emma gazed at the sky, contemplating the year that had passed, the blank canvas of the one to come. She had made a resolution, one that she believed would reshape her life. Emma was not one to make resolutions lightly. In the past, she had seen them as fleeting wishes, often forgotten in the whirlwind of daily life. But this year was different. This year, her resolution was born from a deep yearning for change. She resolved to write a book, a dream she had harbored since childhood, but had always pushed aside for more practical pursuits. The city's fireworks burst into a kaleidoscope of colors, signaling the arrival of the new year. Emma felt a surge of determination. This year would be the year she would turn her dream into reality. As the crowd erupted into cheers and the sky glittered with 1,000 lights, Emma whispered her resolution into the night, making a silent promise to herself. Her journey was not just about writing a book. It was about rediscovering her passion, her voice. For tonight, she let silence to create it. Now, she was ready to embrace her true self, ready to let her imagination soar. As the night gave way to the first dawn of the new year, Emma returned home, her heart brimming with hope and excitement. She knew the path ahead would be challenging, filled with obstacles and self-doubt, but she was determined to see her resolution through. For Emma, this was more than just a New Year's promise. It was the beginning of a journey to fulfill a lifelong dream. In the quietude of her small, cozy apartment, Emma sat by the window, a steaming cup of tea in her hands. The early morning light cast a soft glow on her face, illuminating her thoughtful expression. She had always found comfort in the introspective silence of dawn. At time, it seemed to pause, allowing her to connect with her innermost thoughts. Emma's journey toward writing a book was not merely a whimsical New Year's resolution. It was a deeply rooted desire, a longing that had followed her through years of pursuing a career that, while stable and respectable, left her feeling unfulfilled. She remembered the countless nights spent scribbling stories in her diary as a child, creating worlds filled with adventure and wonder. Writing had been her refuge, a secret garden where her imagination could run wild, unencumbered by the expectations of the world. However, as she grew older, the pressures of life steered her away from her passion. She had chosen a practical path, one that promised security, but often left her feeling like a stranger to herself. Emma's resolution to write a book was more than an ambition. It was a quest to reconnect with the part of herself she had lost along the way. This book, she hoped, would be a tapestry of her experiences, a reflection of the dreams she had dared to dream and the challenges she had faced. It was her way of reclaiming her voice, of affirming that her stories, her thoughts, and her dreams mattered. With each sip of her tea, Emma felt a growing sense of clarity and purpose. She realized that her resolution was not just about the act of writing. It was about embarking on a journey of self-discovery and self-expression. It was about breaking free from the shackles of doubt and fear, about having the courage to pursue what truly made her heart sing. As the city slowly woke up around her, Emma, a blank document waiting to be filled with the words of her soul. She placed her fingers on the keyboard, a sense of determination coursing through her. This was the first step of many. A step towards making her dream a reality, a step towards finding herself again. Later that day, Emma decided to share her New Year's resolution with her close circle, gathering in her favorite cafe, a quaint little place with warm white tea and the comforting aroma of coffee, were Emma's dearest friends and her sister, Lily. Lily, older by 3 years, had always been Emma's anchor, offering wisdom and encouragement in equal measure. She listened intently, her eyes sparkling with pride as Emma spoke of her resolution. "I've always known you had a storyteller. So," Lily said, her voice soft yet firm. "It's time the world knew it too." Joining them were Maya and Jack, friends who had been by Emma's side since college. Maya, with her infectious enthusiasm and unwavering optimism, clapped her hands in excitement. "This is fantastic, Em. I can't wait to read your stories," she exclaimed. Jack, more reserved but equally supportive, nodded in agreement. "You've got a unique voice, Emma. It's about time you shared it." Their words filled Emma with a sense of warmth and belonging. These were people who had seen her at her best and her worst, who had laughed and cried with her, who had been her confidants through the twists and turns of life. Their support meant the world to her, giving her the strength to embark on this new journey. As they sipped their coffee and chatted about the year ahead, Emma felt a surge of gratitude. She realized that her resolution was not just a solitary endeavor, but a journey she would share with those she loved. They were a sounding board, offering perspectives and insights that would help shape her writing. The conversation soon turned to the practicalities of writing a book. Lee, however, the pragmatist, offered advice on setting a writing schedule and creating a conducive environment for creativity. Via suggested starting a blog to share snippets of her writing, a way to build her readership and receive feedback. Jack, who worked in publishing, promised to help her understand the ins and outs of the industry. As the afternoon light faded into evening, Emma left the cafe with a heart full of hope. She knew the journey ahead would be challenging, but with the support of her friends and sister, she felt ready to face whatever lay ahead. They were her tribe, her cheerleaders, and she was grateful to have them by her side. The initial days of Emma's journey were filled with a flurry of excitement and creativity. She set up a small writing nook by the window in her apartment where the morning light would gently net her into a world of woods. However, as the weeks passed, the romanticism of writing began to wane and reality set in. Emma quickly realized that writing a book was not just about weaving words into stories. It was a test of discipline, patience, and resilience. Her days were still occupied by her full-time job, which left her with only the early mornings or late evenings to write. The balancing act between her job, social commitments, and her passion project became increasingly challenging. She found herself staring at the blinking cursor on her screen more often than she liked, the words refusing to flow as freely as they did in her imagination. Self-doubt crept in, whispering in her ear that maybe she wasn't cut out for this after all. The voices of her characters, once so vivid in her mind, began to fade, drowned out by the cacophony of her daily responsibilities. There are days when Emma felt a sense of progress, her fingers dancing across the keyboard as her story slowly took shape. But these moments were fleeting, often overshadowed by the frustration of writer's block or the exhaustion from her day job. The support of her friends and sister was a constant source of comfort. They encouraged her to keep going, reminding her of the passion and talent they saw in her. Yet, despite their encouragement, Emma couldn't shake off the feeling of being stuck, of not living up to her own expectations. Her writing nook, once a sanctuary of creativity, started to feel like a reminder of the struggle she faced. The pages of her notebook were filled with more crossed-out lines than coherent paragraphs. The joy of writing, which once felt like a natural extension of her being, now seemed like a distant memory. This struggle was not just about putting words on a page. It was a battle between her dream and the realities of life, between her creative spirit and the fear of failure. Emma began to question whether her resolution to write a book was nothing more than a fleeting New Year's fantasy, an impractical dream that was slowly slipping from her fingers. The pivotal moment came unexpectedly on a rain-drenched Thursday evening. Emma, already weary from a particularly grueling day at work, returned home to find her apartment in darkness. The power had gone out, the casualty of the storm raging outside, with nothing but the sound of rain against the windows. Emma was left alone with her thoughts in the dim candlelight. She tried to write, hoping to use the quiet to her advantage, but the words eluded her. Her mind was a whirlpool of fatigue and frustration. each thought colliding with another, leaving her feeling overwhelmed. It was in this moment of vulnerability that Emma's resolve began to crumble. The notebook in front of her, once a vessel of dreams and stories, now seemed to mock her efforts. The blank pages were a stark reminder of her unmet goals, of the gap between her aspirations and reality. In a moment of despair, Anna closed the notebook, a symbolic act that felt like closing a chapter of her life. The decision to step back from writing was not an easy one. It felt like admitting defeat, like letting down not only herself, but also those who believed in her. But the weight of her unfulfilled resolution had become too heavy to bear, and the joy that once accompanied the act of writing had faded into a distant memory. That night, as the storm outside mirrored the turmoil within her, Emma allowed herself to feel the full extent of her disappointment. She had broken her New Year's promise, a promise made to herself in a moment of hope and ambition. The realization was a bitter pill to swallow. But in the darkness of her apartment, Emma began to understand that sometimes it's okay to let go. In the days that followed, Emma tried to make peace with her decision. She focused on her job and spent time with her friends and sister, trying to fill the void left by her abandoned dream. But even as she went about her life, a part of her missed the world of her unfinished book, of the characters that had become like friends to her. Emma's journey of writing a book had come to a halt. But little did she know, this was not the end. It was merely a pause, a moment to gather strength before the story would take an unexpected turn. Chapter 2. The Aftermath. In the days following her decision to step away from writing, Emma found herself navigating a sea of mixed emotions. The relief of unburdening herself from the pressure of her resolution was tinged with a sense of loss, while pawing with a piece of her identity. Her mornings, once dedicated to writing, now began with a void that coffee alone couldn't fill. At work, Emma tried to immerse herself in her responsibilities, but her thoughts often drifted to the unfinished manuscript that lay dormant in her writing nook. She avoided a corner of her apartment, unable to face the reminder of her unfulfilled promise. The notebook, once her constant companion, now seemed like a stranger. Emma's friends noticed the change in her. A spark of excitement that had lit up her eyes when she spoke of her book was dimmed. Ever the empath approached Emma with a gentle concern. Over cups of herbal tea, she encouraged Emma to talk about her feelings. "It's okay to feel disappointed," Maya said, her words a balm to Emma's troubled heart. "But don't let this setback define you. You're so much more than one broken resolution." Lily, too, offered her support, reminding Anna that the path to any dream is rarely a straight one. "There's no timeline for dreams, she said, her voice steady and reassuring. "Sometimes, we need to take a step back to see the bigger picture." Despite their words of encouragement, Emma struggled to shake off the cloak of failure. She questioned her capabilities and feared that she had lost her chance to fulfill her dream. The resolution she had broken was not just about writing a book. It was about proving to herself that she could achieve her deepest aspirations. The stark reality of her situation became clear during a quiet evening stroll. The city, with its vibrant energy and endless possibilities, seemed to mock her stagnation. Emma watched as people around her pursued their passions with apparent ease, wondering why. She found it so difficult to do the same. As she walked, Emma realized that her resolution had become a part of her, a symbol of her potential and ambition. Breaking it had left her feeling directionless, unsure of who she was without the dream she had nurtured for so long. This period of introspection was painful, but necessary, and forced Emma to confront the truth of her situation, to acknowledge the depth of her disappointment. But in the midst of this turmoil, there was a glimmer of hope. Emma began to understand that her journey was not about the destination, but about the lessons learned along the way. During the quiet nights that followed, Emma embarked on a journey inward, one that took her through the winding paths of her own heart and mind. These moments of solitude became a sanctuary for self-reflection, allowing her to peel back the layers of her emotions and understand the root of her turmoil. It was in these silent hours, under the soft glow of the moonlight, that Emma confronted the harsh truth she had avoided. She realized that her resolution to write a book was not just about fulfilling a childhood dream. It was also an escape from the dissatisfaction she felt in other areas of her life. Her job, though stable, did not ignite her passion. Her routine, while comfortable, lacked the excitement she craved. Emma had placed all her hopes for happiness and fulfillment on her writing, believed that achieving this one goal would be the key to her contentment. When the reality of the challenge overwhelmed her, it wasn't just the resolution that broke. It was her entire perception of what it meant to be successful and happy. This introspection was not easy. It required Emma to be brutally honest with herself, to acknowledge not only her strengths, but also her weaknesses. She had to accept that her journey would be fraught with obstacles, and that success was not a linear path. Yet, in the heart of this introspection, Emma discovered a wellspring of resilience. She began to appreciate her own courage, the courage to pursue a dream, to face failure, and to confront her own vulnerabilities. This realization brought a subtle but profound shift in her perspective. Emma understood that her worth was not tied to her achievements or failures. Her value and her willingness to try, to dream, and to continue moving forward, even though the path was unclear. This epiphany was a quiet yet powerful revelation, one that brought a sense of peace and clarity. The nights of self-reflection became a transformative experience for Emma. She emerged from them with a deeper understanding of herself and a renewed sense of purpose. No longer confined by the narrow definition of success she had set for herself, Emma began to see the myriad possibilities that life offered. Her resolution may have been broken, but in its place, she found something more valuable and deeper. A deeper connection with herself and a broader vision for her life. This newfound understanding was the first step towards healing and growth. A step towards a future filled with potential and hope. In the weeks that followed her period of introspection, Emma's interactions with her friends and family took on a new depth. She found herself seeking their company more often, drawing comfort from their presence and wisdom. Their conversations, once centered around her writing endeavors, now ventured into broader discussions about life, dreams, and the nature of happiness. One evening, Emma invited her friends and Lily over for dinner. The atmosphere in the apartment was warm and inviting, filled with the aroma of homemade food and the soft hum of background music. As they gathered around the dining table, the conversation flowed effortlessly, touching upon everything from mundane daily happenings to deeper, more philosophical topics. Maya, always keen to lift the spirits, shared stories of her own setbacks and how they led her to unexpected opportunities. Sometimes the universe has a funny way of redirecting us to where we need to be, she said with a knowing smile. Jack, who had been relatively quiet, chimed in with his own insights. It's not about how many times we stumble, but how we choose to get back up, he remarked, his words resonating with the sincerity that struck a chord in Emma. Lily, ever a supportive sister, shared her observations of Emma's journey. You've grown so much through this experience, Em. I see a strength in you that wasn't there before, she said, her eyes reflecting pride and affection. These conversations were a balm to Emma's soul. He reminded her that she was not alone in her struggles, and that failure was a universal experience, one that could lead to growth and an unexpected path. Her friends and sister were not the support system. They were mirrors reflecting back the lessons she needed to learn. The evening ended with laughter and a shared sense of camaraderie. As Emma bid them goodbye, she felt a profound sense of gratitude. These people were not just part of her life. They were integral journey, shaping her experiences and perspectives in ways she had never imagined. In the days that followed, Emma found herself reflecting on these interactions. She realized that her resolution, while personal, was also connected to the people in her life. Their support, insights, and experiences were interwoven with her own, creating a tapestry of relationships that enriched her journey. This realization was a turning point for Emma. She'd understood that her journey was not a solitary endeavor, but a shared experience, enriched by the love, wisdom, and support of those around her. This sense of connection was a powerful force, wise that would help guide her as she navigated the next steps of her journey. As Emma continued to navigate the aftermath of her broken resolution, she began to delve deeper into the underlying issues that had led to her setback. It was during a quiet afternoon in a secluded corner of the city park, under the shade of an old oak tree, that clarity began to emerge. Surrounded by the tranquil beauty of nature, Emma allowed her thoughts to wander freely. She realized that her struggle with writing was not just about time management or writer's block. It was deeply rooted in her fear of failure and the pressure she had placed on herself to achieve perfection. Emma had always set high standards for herself, often equating her self-worth with her accomplishments. This mindset had driven her to excel in many areas of her life, but it also meant that she was harshly critical of herself when things didn't go as planned. As she sat there, watching leaves rustle in the breeze, Emma understood that her pursuit of perfection was an impossible chase. It was this unattainable standard that had paralyzed her creativity, making her doubt her abilities and stifling the free flow of her ideas. This revelation was a pivotal moment for Emma. She recognized that in order to move forward, she needed to embrace her imperfections and accept that the journey of writing, like life, was filled with ups and downs. It was not about creating a flawless piece of work, but about expressing herself authentically and learning from the process. This new perspective was liberating. Emma felt a weight lift off her shoulders, a release from the self-imposed chains of perfectionism. She realized that her worth was not defined by her achievements, but by her courage to try, to be vulnerable, and to embrace the journey, regardless of the outcome. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the park, Emma felt a renewed sense of hope and determination. She then covered the root of her struggles, and with this understanding, she was ready to explore new paths and possibilities. The journey ahead was still uncertain, but Emma now had a clearer vision of what she needed to do. She was prepared to face her fears, to write not for perfection, but for the joy of expression and the growth it brought. In the days that followed her afternoon of introspection, Emma began to see her situation in a new light. A conversation with an old friend, Thomas, provided the unexpected glimmer of hope she needed. Thomas, a musician, had faced similar challenges in his creative journey, and his perspective was both enlightening and inspiring. They met at a local cafe, a cozy spot where the aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the soft hum of conversation. As they talked, Thomas shared his own experiences with creative roadblocks and how he overcame them. Sometimes the path we start on isn't the one we end up following, he said thoughtfully. It's okay to explore new avenues, to experiment and see where they lead. His words struck a chord with Emma. She had been so fixated on the idea of writing a book that she hadn't considered other creative outlets. Thomas's journey reminded her that creativity was not a straight line, but a vast landscape of possibilities. This conversation sparked a new idea in Emma. What if she started smaller, perhaps writing short stories or essays instead of diving straight into a book? This approach seemed less daunting and more manageable, allowing her to explore her writing without the overwhelming pressure of completing a full-length novel. The idea of starting small was both exciting and comforting. It allowed Emma to ease back into her writing with a sense of exploration and playfulness, qualities that had been missing from her previous attempts. This new path felt like a breath of fresh air. It was a way to reignite her passion for writing, while also giving herself the grace and space to grow and learn. Emma left the cafe that day with a renewed sense of purpose and a heart filled with optimism. She began to jot down ideas for short stories, each one a window into the diverse world of her imagination. These small projects felt less intimidating, and more importantly, they brought back the joy of writing. The blank pages of her notebook, once a source of anxiety, now beckoned her with the promise of new beginnings and endless possibilities. Emma's journey was taking a new turn, one that was perhaps less grand in scale, but richer in personal fulfillment and creative freedom. The glimmer of hope that Thomas had ignited was now a guiding light, leading her down a path that felt right for her. As the days unfolded, Emma found herself at a crossroads. armed with new insights and possibilities. The idea of writing short stories had planted a seed of excitement in her. Yet, she knew that this path also came with its own set of challenges. To embark on this journey required a decision, one that meant facing her fears and insecurities head-on. One evening, under the soft glow of her desk lamp, Emma sat with her notebook open, pen in hand. The room was quiet, save for the gentle tapping of rain against the window. It was a moment of solitude, a space where Emma could listen to her own thoughts without the distractions of the world. She pondered over the decision at hand. Embarking on this new path meant stepping out of her comfort zone, embracing uncertainty, and being open to the learning process. It was a daunting prospect, but also an exhilarating one. She realized that growth often came from embracing the unknown, and that true fulfillment lay in the journey, not just the destination. With a deep breath, Emma made her decision. She would face her challenges not as insurmountable obstacles, but as opportunities to learn and evolve. She would start writing short stories, each one a step towards finding her voice and honing her craft. This decision was a turning point for Emma. It marked the beginning of a new chapter in her life, one filled with possibilities and a renewed sense of purpose. She was no longer chasing a broken resolution. She was pursuing a passion with an open heart and a curious mind. The first story she wrote was a reflection of her own journey, a tale of a character who, after facing setbacks, discovers new paths and the beauty of embracing change. Writing it felt different this time. It was more fluid, more joyful. And I felt a connection with her story, a sense of authenticity that had been missing in her previous attempts. As she penned the last words of the story, Emma felt a sense of accomplishment and contentment. She had not only started a new project, but had also taken a significant step towards self-discovery and personal growth. This decision to face her challenges and explore new avenues of creativity was not the end of Emma's journey, but rather a new beginning. It was a testament to her resilience, her willingness to adapt to grow, and her unyielding passion for writing. Emma's story, like her characters, was unfolding in unexpected and beautiful ways. She had learned that sometimes breaking a resolution could lead to a deeper understanding of oneself and open the door to new opportunities. Her journey was a reminder that in the tapestry of life, every thread, every color, no matter how unexpected, contributes to the richness of the whole. Chapter 3. The Path to Redemption. With her decision to write short stories and a step onto a new path, one that she hoped would lead to redemption, not only in her writing, but in her personal journey of self-discovery. This path, though filled with uncertainty, shimmered with the promise of new beginnings. Emma started her mornings earlier, finding solace in the quiet hours before dawn. This time was sacred, a period when her thoughts were clear and her creativity flowed freely. She converted her writing nook into a haven of inspiration, adorning it with motivational quotes and images that sparked her imagination. Her first few attempts were tentative, like the initial strokes of a painter on a blank canvas. Each story began as a whisper, a subtle idea that slowly took shape under the guidance of her pen. Emma found joy in the process, a joy that had been missing when she was bitten by the bite of her previous resolution. The stories she wrote were reflections of her own experiences, all imbued with the illusions and insights she had gained along her journey. They ranged from tales of love and loss to narratives of courage and resilience. For her character, Emma explored the complexities of the human spirit, creating stories that resonated with honesty and depth. This journey was not without its challenges. There were days when Emma wrestled with self-doubt, when the words refused to come, and our stories seemed like distant dreams. Each story completed was a small victory, a step towards reclaiming her passion and rebuilding her confidence. Emma began to share her work with her friends, seeking their feedback and perspectives. Their encouragement and constructive criticism were invaluable, helping her refine her craft and find her voice. As the weeks turned into months, Emma's collection of stories grew. She started a blog to share her work, reaching out to a wider audience. The responses she received were encouraging, with readers resonating with her narratives and characters. This feedback was not just a validation of her talent, a reminder of the power of storytelling to connect and inspire. Emma's journey toward redemption was not just about her writing. It was about transforming her relationship with herself. She was learning to embrace her imperfections, to find beauty in the process, and to appreciate the journey as not just a destination. This newfound perspective filled Emma with a sense of fulfillment and purpose. She realized that redemption was not a destination to be reached, but a path to be walked, a path that led to growth, learning, and self-discovery. Emma's journey, though illuminated by her newfound passion and purpose, was not without its shadows. As she ventured further into the world of writing and sharing her work, she encountered obstacles that tested her resolve. One significant challenge came in the form of criticism. While many readers resonated with her stories, there were others who offered harsh critiques. One particular comment on her blog, questioning the depth and originality of her writing, left Emma feeling disheartened. Doubts crept in, and the familiar fear of not being good enough resurfaced. Another setback was the struggle to balance her writing with her full-time job. There were days when exhaustion from work left her with little energy for her stories. Her writing nook was a sanctuary, occasionally felt like a reminder of the struggle to juggle her responsibilities and her passion. During these times, Donna leaned on the support of her friends and family. Lily, seeing her struggle, reminded her of the importance of self-power and balance. Your writing is a part of you, but it's not all of you, Lily said gently. Remember to take care of yourself too. Why I encouraged Emma to see criticism as a tool for growth. Not everyone will understand your journey, and she advised. Use the constructive feedback to improve, but don't let the negative voices drown out your own. His insights into the publishing world were invaluable, offering Emil a glimpse into the realities of a writer's life. These challenges, while daunting, were also opportunities for Emma to grow. She learned to accept criticism with grace, using it to hone her skills and deepen an understanding of her craft. She found ways to manage her time more effectively, carving out moments for writing without compromising her well-being. The obstacles on her path taught Emma resilience. She learned that setbacks were not failures, but stepping stones to greater learning and self-improvement. Each challenge was a lesson in perseverance, a chance to strengthen her character and to reaffirm her commitment to her passion. Through these experiences, Emma's writing evolved. It gained a richness and depth that came from her own growth and learning. Her stories became more nuanced, reflecting the complexities of life and the resilience of the human spirit. Despite the obstacles, Emma continued to walk her path with determination and grace. She understood that the journey of redemption was not a smooth road, a path woven with challenges and triumphs, each step a testament to her strength and dedication. As Emma continued her journey, she discovered that the path to redemption was not one she had to walk alone. Along the way, she formed real relationships and alliances that enriched her experience and broadened her perspective. One such connection came in the form of a fellow writer, Zoe, whom she met through her blog. Zoe, a seasoned author with a gentle spirit, reached out to Emma after reading one of her stories. She offered words of encouragement and a willingness to mentor. Emma, humbled and grateful, accepted the offer and must begin a friendship and would have a profound impact on her journey. Zoe became a guiding light for Emma, sharing her wisdom and experience in the world of writing. Their conversations, often over long emails or cozy cafe meetups, delved into the nuances of storytelling, character development, and the emotional journey of a writer. So mentorship was not just about honing Emma's craft. It was about nurturing her soul as a writer. Another significant relationship formed when Emma attended a local writer's workshop. There, she met a diverse group of writers, each on their own unique path. The workshop became a haven of creative exchange, where ideas were shared, stories were critiqued, and friendships were forged. These new relationships brought a sense of community to Emma's journey. She no longer felt like a solitary writer struggling against the tide. Instead, she was part of a vibrant tapestry of storytellers, each with their own tales of trials and triumphs. The support and camaraderie of these new alliances were instrumental in Emma's growth. She found confidence in Synod's guidance, inspiration in the stories of her fellow writers, her motivation in the collective energy of the workshop. Through these connections, Emma also learned the importance of giving back. She began to offer her own insights and support to newer writers in the group, sharing her experiences and lessons learned. This act of giving enriched her journey adding a layer of fulfillment that went beyond her own achievements. The new relationships and alliances Emma formed were more than just networks or contacts. They were bonds forged through shared passion and mutual respect, a reminder that the journey of creativity was as much about connection in community as it was about individual expression. As Emma's circle of support expanded, so did her sense of belonging in the world of writing. She was no longer an aspiring writer, chasing a broken resolution. She was an integral part of the community of storytellers. Emma's journey reached a pivotal moment on a crisp autumn evening. She was attending her regular writers' workshop, an event she had come to cherish for its atmosphere of creativity and support. That night, the group was tasked with sharing a piece of writing that held special meaning to them. With a fluttering heart, Emma decided to share a story that was particularly close to her heart. It was a tale woven from her own experiences, a narrative of overcoming adversity and finding strength in vulnerability. As she read her story aloud, her voice steady but filled with emotion, the room fell into a hushed silence. When she finished, there was a moment of stillness, a collective breath held in anticipation. Then the room erupted into applause, the warmth and sincerity of her response enveloping Emma like a comforting embrace. The feedback from her peers was overwhelmingly positive, with many expressing how deeply they had been moved by her story. This experience was a turning point for Emma. It was a validation of her journey, a confirmation that her voice and her stories had the power to touch others. For the first time, Emma truly felt like a writer, not just in aspiration but in reality. Encouragement she received that night ignited a new fire within her. She returned home with a renewed sense of purpose and a deep desire to pursue her writing with even greater dedication. The doubts and fears that had once plagued her seemed smaller now, overshadowed by the affirmation of her talent and the impact of her words. This breakthrough extended beyond the workshop. Emma began to share her stories more widely, submitting them to local publications and online literary journals. The responses were encouraging, with several of her pieces being accepted for publication. Each acceptance letter was a testament to her growth as a writer and the relevance of her narratives. This phase of Emma's journey was marked by a profound sense of achievement and fulfillment. She had not only found her voice as a writer, but had also connected with others through her stories. Her writing had become a bridge, linking her inner world with the outside world, allowing her to express herself in ways she had never thought possible. The significant breakthrough of the writers' workshop was more than just a moment of recognition. It was a catalyst that propelled Anna forward, reaffirming her path and inspiring As the seasons changed, so did Emma. The journey she had embarked upon, starting as a quest to fulfill a broken resolution, had transformed her in ways she had never imagined. She was no longer the same person who had timidly set out to write a book at the beginning of the year. The trials, the setbacks, the moments of doubt and the triumphs had all contributed to her growth, both self-rater and as an individual. Emma's approach to writing had evolved significantly. She no longer sought perfection in every word or phrase. Instead, she embraced the beauty of the imperfect, the power of raw emotions, and the art of storytelling that spoke to the heart. Her writing became more authentic, more reflective of her true self. Her personal growth was evident in other aspects of her life as well. Emma found herself more open to new experiences, more resilient in the face of challenges, and more compassionate towards herself and others. She learned the importance of balance, while giving herself the grace to rest and rejuvenate, understanding that creativity was not a constant outpouring, but a cycle that required both expression and replenishment. The relationships Emma had formed throughout her journey played a significant role in her transformation. The support and wisdom of her friends, family, finding light, helping her navigate the complex path of self-discovery and creative expression. In turn, Emma became a source of encouragement and inspiration for others, sharing her experiences and learnings with those who were embarking on their own creative journeys. As the year drew to a close, Emma reflected on the journey she had undertaken. The resolution she had set for herself at the beginning of the year had been broken, but in its place, she had found something far more valuable, a deeper understanding of herself. Her craft in the interdependence of headness. Emma's journey was a testament to the power of resilience, the beauty of growth, and the transformative nature of creativity. She had not only found redemption in her writing, but had also rediscovered her passion, her purpose, and her voice. The path to redemption had been a journey of becoming a better writer, a more authentic self, and a source of inspiration. As the year came to an end, Emma looked forward to the future with a sense of hope and excitement, ready to continue the journey, to write new stories, and to embrace whether a defend fair